Welcome to Child Trends series on building evidence for effective programs. The series will introduce you to a 5-step, data-driven process to support the delivery of effective programs. You'll also find links to related resources on the webpage to help you go deeper on each of the 5 steps. These videos are intended for anyone interested in better understanding how to establish evidence for program effectiveness. If you are new to program evaluation, we hope you will have a better understanding of how it can be helpful in serving the needs of your community. If you have a more advanced understanding of program evaluation, you may find this series to be useful in starting a conversation about program effectiveness within your organization or community. The first video will introduce you to all 5 steps of the process. Other videos in the series go into more detail on each step and offer practical examples. There is also an interview with Isaac Castillo, who shares his experience working at a community organization that conducted a rigorous evaluation of one of their programs. Let's get started with a few questions. Have you ever wondered how to use data to ensure your organization is making a difference, or how to identify unmet needs that your organization is uniquely qualified to meet? Maybe you know your program needs adjustments, but you aren't sure what exactly needs to change. Or perhaps you're having a hard time getting funding because funders want to see proof that your program works. The steps in this process can help you answer these questions and more. Basically, you'll want to assess the needs and resources in your community, identify the need to be targeted, create a plan, and deliver your program while monitoring its quality. You might also decide that you want to conduct a rigorous evaluation. This video will briefly walk you through all those steps. Keep in mind that while we present the steps as a linear process, it may not work that way for you. Because this is a journey of learning about your program, it's normal to revisit an earlier step from time to time to apply something you've learned in a later step. But let's get started with the first step, assessing the needs and resources in your community. A needs and resources assessment is a systematic way of periodically examining the challenges children and families face and the assets available to potentially address those challenges. A needs and resources assessment can help you avoid duplication of services and identify gaps in your community. Because communities change over time, it's best to periodically reassess needs and resources. Strategies for periodically assessing and reassessing the needs and resources in your community can include using publicly available data or collecting your own data, which we talk about more in video 2. To get useful data, pay attention to the larger context in your community. The social and political climate can affect how well interventions might work. Make sure to include people with a variety of perspectives, especially from groups that are often left out of decision-making in your community. In particular, consider including groups that you'd want to engage directly or indirectly in your program. For example, a tutoring program may engage students who might participate in the program, as well as their parents and teachers. Next, you'll look at the data you gathered in Step 1 to identify gaps your organization might be able to fill. When possible, look at your data by race, ethnicity, and gender. You might find that some groups are more affected by a problem than others. Try to involve community members, including youth, when reviewing data and identifying gaps. They can point out information you might have missed or help you to understand the problem in a different way. The third step is to develop a plan that describes how you will address the needs you identified. To guide your planning, you'll want to develop a theory of change and a logic model. These documents are your roadmap as you set out to deliver an effective program. A theory of change is a brief description, usually just a sentence or two, of how your program activities facilitate changes in program participants that lead to long-term outcomes. A logic model is a more detailed plan. It includes the inputs or resources needed to carry out your program activities, the outputs to assess delivery of your program, and the outcomes you expect to see among program participants. Engaging community members in your planning process can help identify potential barriers and strengths you can leverage. You can do this through focus groups, surveys, or informal discussions. To learn more about this, make sure to check out video 3 as well as the resource links on the webpage. Once you have your plan, it's time to put it into action. This means delivering and monitoring the quality of your program. As you deliver your program, use your logic model to develop a system for regularly collecting and reviewing data to improve your program. Collect and examine data that allow you to look at outcomes for program participants by race, ethnicity, and gender, so that you can see whether your program is helping some groups more than others. Consider engaging community members during this step, as they can offer valuable insights to help troubleshoot problems uncovered by your data review. For more on this step, check out video 4. The final step is to conduct a formal evaluation with an outside evaluator. Unlike performance management, an evaluation is not ongoing. Usually it is done just once, or once in a great while. There are a lot of reasons you might decide to conduct a rigorous evaluation. You may want a clear understanding of what makes your program work so you can replicate it in new sites. You may also want an objective assessment of your program's effects to share with potential partners and funders. Whatever your reason, it's important to know that there are two broad categories of program evaluations: implementation evaluations and outcome evaluations. It's generally a good idea to do both. An implementation evaluation can help you figure out if your program is being delivered the way you intended. It can also help you identify the core elements of your program. When combined with an outcome evaluation, an implementation evaluation will help you better understand how your core elements contribute to your outcomes. If you find that your program is not working as expected, the implementation evaluation will give you an idea of what you might need to change. An outcome evaluation can provide evidence for the effectiveness of your program. It can also help you to determine if your program works better for some youth than others. Ultimately, an evaluation is a lot of work, but it is also an opportunity to examine the effects of your program, make data-driven improvements, and inform the larger field about what works. For more on this step, check out video 5. Video 6 also includes an interview with Isaac Castillo, who shares his experience working at a community organization that conducted a rigorous evaluation of one of their programs. Hopefully, you have come away from this video with a basic understanding of how collecting the right data can help you to improve your program and ultimately build evidence for its effectiveness. Check out the other videos in this series to learn more about each step. You can also find resources listed on the webpage.